Gotta get as far away from here as we possibly can.
An imposter threatens the life of Bo Buchanan.
I worked too long and too hard on this to blow it now.
We were kidnapped.
Bo Buchanan has a double.
Bo and Dee Dee have escaped.
That means trouble. One Life to Live, weekdays.
Emma, if that is Rob, I'm not home. Thank you, Emma, darling.
Oh, Kathy, darling, I am so glad that I didn't interrupt your nap. And
No. In fact, John was just here, and he found some information on Dr. Brunner.
oh, that is good news. But before we get into that, I want you to get over to the Holden Towers as soon as possible.
The Holden Towers, why?
I just spoke to Rob. I have the distinct impression that he is leaving town for good.
Sorry, Mr. Coronel, but when you didn't answer, I thought you'd gone out. I'll come back.
No, it's okay. I'm glad I got a chance to thank you for the extra special service. I'll probably be leaving tomorrow. I know you probably won't spend this on yourself, but maybe you can get your grandson that baseball glove.
Thanks. I'll miss you. Good luck.
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Cord?
Listen, I was having lunch downstairs, and I need to go over to Mount Lantana. I thought you might want to take a ride.
Thanks, but no.
What's the matter? Did somebody die?
What?
Well, I mean, you're in this lousy mood, and you're wearing a dark suit, so I thought you might be going to some kind of a funeral.
Oh, worse. I'm getting married.
Careful with that, Malcolm. We don't want to wrinkle it before the ceremony.
Shall I hang it in your room?
Yes, thank you.
Darling. Mission accomplished.
Oh, Daddy, the dress is exquisite.
The hairdresser called to confirm your appointment. Why don't you go upstairs and try to relax until she arrives?
Yes, I think I will. Thank you for making me the happiest girl in the world.
My pleasure, sweetheart.
That was Bo. He's anxious to know if you've had any news of England.
That nervous Nellie is more trouble than he's worth. I've told him time and time again not to call here too often. We promised to inform him on every detail. Why doesn't he concentrate on his own duties here in Landview and stop fretting about the situation in England?
The situation in England, as you so blithely put it, is of serious consequence to him, Henry. After all, he's impersonating the young Mr. Buchanan. And if, God forbid, the real Bo and his wife were to escape your associates and find their way to Landview, our Bo would spend the rest of his life in prison along with you.
No one is going to prison, Elizabeth. So you can stop that nonsense immediately. Our people in England said they would handle Bo and Dee Dee, and I am quite confident that they will.
Constable, I come and go from this barn all day long. Surely I would know if someone were hiding in here. Oh, now, if you'll excuse me, I have to see to my dinner.
Go ahead. I can search better without you all chattering anyway.
Well, you've no need to search at all.
This is a very dangerous couple. They've stabbed one of Lord Henry's faithful servants.
Oh, well, why on earth would anyone want to arm a poor servant?
I'm not at liberty to discuss this case with anyone.
Oh, no matter. The man and woman are probably
Here.
in Scotland.
How do you know it's a man and a woman?
That's usually what people mean when they use the term couple. There's work to be done, and you're wasting my time, Constable.
It's my duty to investigate. What the devil?
Sorry, old boy. It's just a barrel I knocked into.
Now, look, you stay there and keep quiet. Damn that hound!
You watch your tongue and mind your manners, Constable. Your office does not give you license to call down evil on my Mr. Bevins.
Now, look, you contain that vicious animal, or I'll silence him myself.
You are my dog, and you'll have to answer to Her Majesty herself. Now, if you're satisfied there are no murderers lurking about, I'll thank you to leave my property.
Well, it's obvious the couple isn't here, but if they do come round, you phone my office at once.
It's all right now, Mr. Bevins. The old devil's gone.
Mrs. Calkins, you're a lifesaver. Thank you.
Constable is just a phone call away. Perhaps you'd best not give me any more malarkey about this being lovers lost in the countryside. And come clean with the truth now.
Wait a minute, Rob. I'm sorry, but this just doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes sense to me, so just back off, okay?
Oh, not until you can convince me that you're entirely sure that you're doing the right thing here.
I'm marrying Joanna.
What about Cassie?
She's free to find happiness with somebody else.
Ah. Well, you know, the other night when she came into Stars and she saw you with Joanna, I really didn't get the impression that she wanted to be free of you, if you know what I mean.
It's over.
Not only that, but I see how upset you are right now. I don't think you want to be free of her either.
It's over, Cord. The decision's been made.
Uh-huh. Now, which decision is this? Your decision to marry a woman that you don't even love?
I never said I didn't love Joanna.
No, but you did admit that you did love Cassie.
A lot's happened since then.
I don't know. Maybe Joanna's pregnant. Is that what's happening here? Is that what this is all about?
No. No, look, Cord, I was married to Cassie. It didn't work out. And then I met Joanna, and we got along immediately. She's a lovely woman. I proposed. She accepted. Then I came to Landview, and I started spending a lot of time with Cassie. And for a couple of seconds, I started to think that maybe I had some feelings for her again, but I was obviously wrong.
I think you're wrong if you think that you can marry Joanna out of some sense of, I don't know, honor or loyalty that you may have. I'm telling you, if you do this, you're only going to make yourself and her miserable. Not to mention what it's going to do to Cassie. Now, listen, you can still call this whole wedding thing off with Joanna. Yes, she will hurt at first. But in the long run, she's going to hurt an awful lot more knowing that you went into a marriage loving Cassie.
Cord, we're friends. And I appreciate your concern, but I know what I'm doing.
Is Joanna's father behind this? I mean, is he the one who is pressuring you into this marriage? Forget about him, man. Even if he is royalty, that is no big deal. Why ruin your life and Cassie's? Not to mention what it'll do to Joanna's.
All right. This is the truth. I am marrying Joanna in order to protect Cassie.
Protect her? From what?
I can't tell you right now. Just trust me, okay?
Does Cassie know anything about this?
No. And if you care about her, it'll stay that way.
If Cassie is in trouble, I think she has a right to know.
No, she is going to be all right once I marry Joanna. As long as you don't shoot off your mouth and blow things.
I gotta think that there's a better way to deal with this.
No, believe me, there isn't. Now, I feel rotten about causing Cassie any kind of pain, but at least she'll be safe. And that's the way it has to be.
Please don't miss this chance to talk to Rob one more time. Find out why he's behaving the way he's behaving.
I already know why, Renee. Both Rob and Joanna made it very clear. He loves her, and that's it. So I really don't want to hear it again.
I have just come from talking to Rob. I saw him. He could not face me in the eye directly and say that he does not love you anymore. He's in as much pain as you are. Now, if you go to him, you just might possibly be able to come together again.
I have tried that, Renee. And every time, Rob has chosen Joanna over me. So he is welcome to a life with her. I am through dreaming about something that was never meant to be.
Honey, dreams fade quickly unless you grab them and make something of them.
Do you want to hear about Dr. Bruner?
Of course.
John said that Dr. Bruner is a brilliant doctor, brilliant researcher with impeccable credentials. Although he does have a 2-year question mark in his life. Apparently, he disappeared for 2 years. And then last month, he just kind of showed up again all of a sudden. Now, John, doesn't seem to know why.
Oh, Cassie, don't.
Hey, pal. Can you hold the door? Hey, look, the rest of the boat's downstairs in the van. If you can give us a hand, okay?
You must have the wrong apartment, buddy.
Come on, guys. We're running out of time.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. What's going on here?
An evening with Mark Antony and Cleopatra on the Nile. Are you the extra carpenter I sent for?
No, I'm not.
Another one of Cleo's slaves. Great. You're perfect. The costumes are in the little boy's room. Stay out of our way until the ship's together, okay?
No, it's not okay. Now, look, there must be some kind of misunderstanding here. This isn't a little theater, you know?
Don't assemble the barge until we have all the pieces.
Now, look, I don't know who you are or what you're doing in my apartment, but I want you to get your barge out of here.
You're John Russell. I apologize for not recognizing you. Forget the slave costume. You're Mark Antony. Your costume awaits you.
Out! Now.
While this may be your apartment, Melinda instructed me to finish this fantasy, and I will not leave until my job is complete.
Well, what's your name, anyway?
Fred.
Fred, listen. I'll pay you double whatever Melinda was going to pay you, okay? Just get these people out of here.
Why don't you relax and put on your costume?
Because I can't relax without my TV here. I don't want to relax on a barge on the Nile. Where's Melinda?
When I left the station, she was talking with Tom about some late-breaking feature story. That's all I know. Now be careful of that mast. It's got to be up straight.
The estate is called Stonecrest. It's really very impressive, not unlike Wellesley Hall. Of course, it doesn't have a dungeon, but it does have a bomb shelter, and that could be used as a holding area for our prisoners until a more suitable place can be built. Henry, someone else has made a bid on this property, so if you're interested, you'd better move quickly. Will you stop staring at the birds or whatever it is you find so fascinating and talk to me?
Before we purchase an estate to house our prisoners, we must first find them.
Well, you were the one who kept telling me that your people in England will handle the situation. I'm just trying to be optimistic.
Elizabeth, why don't you go and see if Joanna needs anything? Henry, you are on the verge of a heart seizure. You can't deal with the wedding and the situation in England. It's too much of a strain on your heart.
I have waited far too many years for this day, Doctor. I will not allow anything to stand in the way of my daughter's happiness.
Then you have one of two choices. Either go up to your room and lay down for an hour or two, or take a relaxing stroll out in the gardens. Which will it be?
All right. A stroll it is.
It's probably just the caterers. Let Elizabeth deal with it.
Hi, I'm Melinda Kramer from WVLE-TV. I'm the hostess on View on Landview, and sometimes I do special reports for the evening news.
Mrs. Sanders is much too busy to talk to anybody just at the moment. Perhaps if you leave your card...
I'd like to speak with Lord Henry Leighton, if I may.
I'm not sure he's in.
Well, he must be. I had an appointment.
I'm not aware of any such appointment.
Well, maybe it slipped his mind. Look, I'm not in the habit of barging into people's homes. If you'll just tell him I'm here.
Very well. You can wait in the living room.
Thanks. Yes, ma'am, Melinda. Your source was right. There is very definitely going to be a wedding here today.
Miss Kramer, is it?
Lord Henry, so nice to see you again. We met at Land Fair at the wedding of Mary Lynn and Wade.
Of course. I always remember a charming, not to mention beautiful woman.
Oh, the sun never sets on the British Empire.
Alas, I'm afraid our glory has faded somewhat.
But chivalry is not dead.
You won't think me gallant when I admit I don't remember having an appointment with you.
Well, I hope you don't think me too pushy an American, but I'm afraid I was less than honest with your butler.
You lied to him.
Yes, I did. And I'd say I'm sorry, but that wouldn't be very honest either.
As a man engaged in the communications business, I appreciate the lengths reporters must go to obtain their stories. What puzzles me is why you should think there's a story here.
My source tells me that Elizabeth Sanders called into a florist and ordered a very large amount of wedding flowers and wedding bouquets, which tells me that there's a wedding here. Now, if that's true, I would very much like the exclusive, especially if it's going to be the wedding of such newsworthy people as you and Elizabeth Sanders.
Me and Elizabeth?
Well, you are very old friends, and friendship does ripen into love, doesn't it?
My dear Miss Kramer, I would dearly love to be able to give you the exclusive you desire, but I'm afraid you must wait a bit. Would you do me the favor of containing your curiosity for a day or two? Allow me a little time to enjoy this occasion privately, and then I give you my word. I shall share it only with you.
All right, it's a deal. Have a very nice day today, and please do call me before you leave town.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mrs. Calkins, we didn't even know we were in England until we escaped.
Well, okay, I have to admit that I did stab that guard, but he was holding a gun on my husband. I really have no choice.
Listen, we stumbled across this house. It happened to belong to Eli Partridge. He owned the farm, and he was kind enough to take us in, let us use the phone, and we called back to America. Now, I spoke to a man who I thought was my father's butler. I told him exactly where we were and we needed help, but it turns out that this man wasn't really who we thought he was.
And he was obviously working for the people that are our enemies, whoever they are, because the constables showed up at Eli's house and tried to take us back to Wellesley Hall.
Yeah, and then we overpowered him, we ran for it, and that's how we ended up here.
You've no idea why you've been held prisoner?
Mrs. Calkins, I know this is a crazy story, but I swear that it's true.
If you hadn't protected us from the constable, there's no telling what would have happened to us.
Well, we would have died.
The constable and I have had our problems over the years. I've always been suspicious of the old goat and firmly believe he's been on the take for as long as he's been in office.
Listen, is there any way you can help us get to London? Because I know once we get there, we're going to be safe at the American embassy.
We can't be thinking of leaving here in broad daylight.
No.
The man who picks up the milk is a friend of mine. He's a good and trusted friend, and he usually comes by on Friday evenings to have a bite to eat and watch the telly. I don't think he'd mind driving you to London.
Oh, I don't know how we can ever thank you.
When we get to the embassy in London, we'll pay your friend for his time and trouble, but you, Mrs. Calkins, you saved our lives.
Well, causing trouble for the constable will be payment enough for me. I know the Lord frowns on revenge, but I have no health in me when it comes to that scoundrel.
He's going to be exposed for his part in this plot against us. I promise you that.
Oh, then I can live out the rest of my days in great happiness. Now, he may be lurking about the front gate, watching my movements. So if you can wait till my friend is ready to leave, I'll send him round past the barn to collect you on his way home.
Okay, that's great. We'll wait right here, okay?
And for safe measure, perhaps you'd best keep my shotgun with you.
Cassie, dear, don't you want to rest for a bit?
Renee, I cannot stop thinking about Dr. Bruner. Now, why would a man just suddenly leave for 2 years, especially a respected doctor and researcher?
That may be the third or the fourth time you've asked that question.
Renee, I am positive that this is the key to our mystery. Now, you know, or you think that Beau is the one that's drugging Asa. Now, why would he hire Dr. Bruner, a man that has a 2-year blank in his life, to work with Asa? I mean, don't you think that's strange? I am willing to go to Switzerland myself to check this out.
Cassie, you can keep trying, but you can't run away from your problem with Rob.
Renee, I have got to try to forget him somehow, and it's going to be a lot easier to do that in Switzerland than it would be to do it here.
But why can't you see him just one last time?
Why? So I can give him the opportunity to lie in my face again?
Cassie, the only thing I think personally that Rob has been lying about is his feelings for Joanna. Now, he might care for her a little bit, but not enough to marry her. So the big question to me is, why is he behaving so strangely? Are you not in the least bit curious about that?
No, I'm not.
All right. Supposing you were to go to him and he were to admit that he still loved you and he wanted to get back together again, would you give him a chance?
He would not say that to me, Renee. Now, the only reason Rob wants to talk to me is because he has a guilty conscience. He feels badly Daddy hurt me and he wants to apologize. But I can't hear it again. I can't hear him say that again because it's very painful for me.
All right. But please, give thought to what I've been saying.
You don't give up, do you?
No, not when my best friend's future is at stake, and don't you either. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Hello, Robert.
Elizabeth?
Come into the living room and see what the florist has accomplished on short notice. I hope it meets with your approval.
Very nice.
I'm so glad that you and Joanna decided on an indoor wedding rather than the garden. The weather report is very threatening. Thunderstorms, heaven knows what.
Seems perfect.
Pardon?
The flowers and all.
Henry, the bridegroom is here.
Ah, Robert Coronel, Dr. Kurt Brunner.
Congratulations and best wishes.
Thanks.
Dr. Brunner is an old friend from Switzerland. We met on a skiing trip several years ago.
Well, I wish I could stay for the ceremony, but I have another engagement. You're a very lucky man.
Doctor, I'll walk you to the door.
Nice to see you, Henry. I'm sure this nice chap will make your Joanna very happy.
I'm sure they'll both make each other very happy. Right, lad?
Where's Joanna?
Upstairs. But there is a superstition about the bridegroom seeing the bride before the ceremony.
I don't think that'll make much difference.
It will to Joanna. Why don't you make yourself a drink? I can open a bottle of champagne.
No. Maybe I'll make a stroll out in the gardens, get some fresh air.
I'll go check on Joanna, see if I can't hurry her along. And Robert, when she comes downstairs, I trust you'll put on a happy smile.
Dear, I'm making such a mess here. Who is it?
Father of bride. Are you decent?
Just a minute, Daddy. Thank you, Claudette. I shall call you when I'm ready to get dressed. Yes, ma'am.
Claudette. I do so wish your mother were here today to share this special time with us.
She's with us in spirit, Daddy.
I'm glad you feel that way. She would have been so proud of you.
She must be looking down from heaven. Awfully proud of you for fulfilling your promise to her.
You know about the promise?
My favorite bedtime story. A princess falls in love with a prince who has no money. Her parents don't approve of her choice of husband and disinherit her on her wedding day. But the prince and the princess live happily together and have a little princess of their own.
And then, one day, the mother goes to live in another kingdom. The kingdom of heaven.
But before she goes, the father vows to give his little princess a full and happy life. To make sure she finds the prince of her dreams and marries him and lives in a lovely castle and has a wonderful family. And the father promises always to be a part of her life. You know, it was years before I realized that that story was about us.
I could hardly tell a 5-year-old that her grandparents refused to acknowledge her because they disliked her father so.
You told me they never came round because they were so sad about Mummy's death and that I would remind them of her. It's the only time you've ever been dishonest with me.
I was trying to protect you.
I know, Daddy, and I'm grateful.
You know, after all these years, it's still a shock to me to think that parents who so dearly loved their only child could disinherit her, never see her again, or her grandchild. because they disapproved of the man she married.
What if I wanted to marry a man that you didn't like?
If you thought he would make you happy, I would accept him into our family. I'd never break your heart the way your grandparents broke your mother's heart.
She must have loved you very much.
Yes. As much as you love Robert. And I know you're going to have a full and wonderful life with him.
Oh, Daddy, thank you for making the fairy tale come true. What is it?
I've just remembered a verse from Tennyson. A mother weeps at the white funeral of the single life, her maiden daughter's marriage, and half her tears are of pleasure, and the other half of pain. In this instance, of course, the tears are with the father.
Your tears should be all of pleasure.
You have been my entire life. I shall miss you more than I dare to imagine.
Oh, Daddy, you've always been the most important person in my life. No one, not even a handsome prince, could take your place. And anyway, according to the fairy tale, we all live happily ever after, so you'll continue to share our life, our joy, our children. I can't wait to make you an adoring grandfather.
Now, enough of this foolishness. You have the ceremony to dress for.
We will live happily ever after.
I hope you remember one thing. I love you. And I always will. No matter what.
God bless Mrs. Calkins. You know, we should think of something really nice to do for her.
Well, God bless her friend that's taking us to London.
So how long do you think it's going to be?
I don't know, probably another couple hours.
I'm starting to feel free already, and I feel so grateful for things that I've taken for granted, like, air, fresh air.
How about sheepdogs? How about the moon, the stars, the sun, the good old U.S. of A.?
Not to mention land UPA.
Dee Dee, this time, tomorrow night, we're gonna be home.
Henry, it's the constable. He says it's urgent.
It's me.
I've got good news and bad news, sir. I located Bo and Dee Dee in a barn, several miles from where I lost them. The bad news is they've got a shotgun.
How in blazes could they have acquired a shotgun?
The old biddy who owns the farm is protecting them. Plans to have them driven to London this very night.
Get them out of that barn. Get them back to Wellesley Hall. And I want them alive and unharmed. Do you understand? No bloodshed.
Oh, that's something I couldn't guarantee, sir. I mean, the lad's bound to give me a fight, and he won't hesitate to use that gun.
Go to my aide at Wellesley Hall, the man who's supervising the entire operation. Tell him exactly this. It's time to play our trump card. Our troubles are over, Elizabeth.
There's something wrong. It's not balanced. We need cables, stabilizers.
We should have been out of here an hour ago.
Fred, help us with the bar.
Look, I've got my own problem. The refrigerator's not large enough to hold the ice sculptures and the pyramids of delicacies.
Improvise. Turn on the air conditioner. It's hot as the Nile in here anyway. Very nice. A little more oil in the upper arms. Why aren't you in your Mark Antony costume?
Oh, come on, pal. Like I said, if you want to spin your wheels, you go ahead, but count me out.
But you're the central figure in this fantasy.
As I recall, Mark Antony bowed out himself. Now, I'll let Cleo play this last act herself. I'm going down to the bar and watch the ball game.
The animal trainer hit the wall on the llama. He can't find one anywhere, but the camels and the asp are on the truck ready to roll.
You tell that animal trainer if I see one snake or camel up here, it'll be his swan song.
John, what are you doing here?
I'm on a campaign to destroy Egypt. That's what I'm doing here.
Oh, my surprise is ruined.
Trust me, it was a surprise.
Well, hold on. There's 1,000 more surprises coming up.
Melinda, where have you been?
I was out chasing a story. Oh, Fred, thank you so much. It's just
Melinda,
wonderful. I know. Your crew and everybody is just fantastic. It looks great, really.
It's not finished yet.
It's okay. I think I better take over from here. I'll fill you in on all the details in the morning. Dress, my lord, for his delightful excursion down the Nile.
If you come near me, don't come near me.
Oh, my lord is fatigued from all the battles of the day and not himself. But his queen knows how to relax him. She knows how to make him forget war and politics and other worldly matters.
Linda.
Tut, tut. From this moment on, it's Antony and Cleopatra. Now get dressed while I go prepare for my big entrance.
And this is Robert Coronel.
Pleasure to meet you both. It's very kind of you, Judge Crane, to reorganize your schedule in order to perform the ceremony.
Well, a happy occasion like this is a welcome change for me. I don't often perform marriage ceremony, but I am aware that most young people today prefer to recite their own vows. Have you and your bride-to-be written yours?
No. The traditional service will be fine.
You're embarking upon the most important journey of your life. Voluntarily surrendering individual lives.
Well, your favorite roses are in bloom, Judge. Would you like to see them before the storm comes?
Oh, I'd love to.
This ring belonged to my dear, beloved Caroline. I'm certain it will mean a great deal to Joanna if you were to give it to her. That is, if you haven't already got one of your own.
I didn't bother with the ring. I had a feeling that you would just take care of everything. And I'm sure that you made all the arrangements for the honeymoon and even picked out a place for us to live when we get back.
I can forgive your bitterness, Robert, knowing the turmoil you've been through these last few weeks.
You can't even begin to understand.
My life has been one of sacrifice also, Robert. But I learned to cast away the anger and the bitterness, turn defeat into triumph, and sadness into joy.
Bully for you. Now you can run my life.
I'm not trying to run your life, Robert, merely fulfilling a promise made to your father. I agreed to protect you from his enemies, and the only way I can do that is to have you as a member of my family. All I want is give Joanna a chance to make you happy. Then I know the sadness you feel now will turn to joy.
Excuse me, is Mr. Cornell here?
No, he left earlier.
He checked out?
No, ma'am. Actually, he did talk about checking out tomorrow. Well, if it's any help to you, he left with one of those limousine drivers. They were talking about going to the Sanders mansion.
Thank you. Thanks.
Drive carefully. We're supposed to get a storm.
Introducing Kodacolor Gold 100.
I see your true colors shining through. See.
Melinda,
Melinda, come on. I would like to see the ball game. Let's get the show on the road.
This closet is supposed to be vacuumed.
Such sweating labor indeed. My heart warms at the thought of the delicacies which await us. Come, my lord, let us steal the kisses which heaven has given me to present.
Pray tell, hast my lord, my queen, hast thou enough of this silly game?
Lament not, but please thy thoughts by feeding them with delicacies from around the world. What is this? Where's the sumptuous feast I ordered?
This is it. The pyramid's melted.
Has it ever occurred to you to use the refrigerator?
There wasn't any room, and your lord here wouldn't turn on the air conditioning.
I can't believe this. Oh, this is just, everything was supposed to be perfect. To hell with it. This is unbelievable. This whole day has gone like this. First of all, I go and have a meeting with Lord Henry Layton, who's supposed to give me this exclusive on what I think is his marriage to Elizabeth Sanders. As it turns out, it's Rob's marriage to Joanna. So I have to sit on that bombshell.
Wait a minute, Rob and Joanna? You just tell me about that.
Well, I gave my word to Lord Henry, and, you know, a report is only as good as her words.
Melinda, cut the bull. When's the wedding?
Tonight, at the Sanders mansion. Okay, go ahead. You want to run to Cassie? Go on. It's all right.
Thanks.
Well, boys, tomorrow's another day. And another day, another fantasy.
Hey, Bo, you don't think Mrs. Calkins' friend changed his mind about taking us to London, do you?
No, if he had, she'd have come and told us. Probably just engrossed in some TV show. He'll probably be out pretty soon. Hey, listen. Here's Johnny.
Stay where you are, folks. I'm not alone. Come peacefully into your
You and your man just get out of here, Constable.
We're not leaving without you, Buchanan.
Yeah, well, then come and get us. I got a shotgun pointed right at you. I'll blow you away before you can take 2 steps.
Renee, do you know where Cassie is? I need to talk to her.
Well, you're going to have to wait for a bit. She's not here right now. She took my advice, and she's gone to give Rob one more chance.
What are you talking about?
Well, Rob was here earlier. He desperately wanted to talk to her, and when we finally opened the door, he'd gone. So I persuaded her to go and see him and talk to him. Well, so that he could explain things before he leaves Landview.
Leaves Landview? Now, where'd you get that idea?
Well, I assumed that was what he was doing. I mean, he said that he and Cassie might possibly never see one another again.
I got a feeling Rob wasn't talking about a trip. According to Melinda, Rob and Joanna are getting married tonight.
And forsaking all others, keep her only unto you, so long as you both shall live?
I will.
Joanna, will you take Robert to be your lawfully wedded husband, to live together in harmony? Will you love him, comfort him, honor him, keep him in sickness and in health? And forsaking all others, keep him only unto you, so long as you both shall live?
I will.
Is Mr. Cornell here?
Sorry, he can't be disturbed.
Look, this is very important. Now, can you please just tell him that Cassie Callison is here, please?
You'll have to come back, Miss Callison.
No.
After the ceremony.
I, Robert, take thee, Joanna, for my lawful wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part.
I, Joanna, take thee, Robert, as my lawful husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
The rings, please.
My wife and I are free, Constable. We're gonna stay that way.
Are you that protective of all your wives, Buchanan?
What are you talking about?
Now, throw down your gun and surrender, or she dies.
Delilah.
Now stay tuned for General Hospital next.